Her breath mingled with mine, warm, shallow, close. She leaned beside me, palms flat against the table, her skin warm and glowing under the lights. We locked eyes, so close I could see every flicker of heat and joy dancing across her face. I hadn't expected the night to end like this. Me chasing the high, her already caught in it, both of us tangled in something we never saw coming. Before we begin, if you've been enjoying these stories, take a second to hit like and subscribe. It really does make a difference and helps me keep sharing more of these with you. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. I hope you enjoy what you're about to hear and come back for more. Let's begin. They're not going to do it, Maya muttered, arms folded across her chest, eyes fixed on the last two men still lingering in the bar. I leaned on the counter, eyeing them over the rim of my glass. They're really hanging on. They've been here, she snapped. All night, they've seen every signal we gave them. I scanned the room again. Two older men. One of them, tall, broad-shouldered, had his jacket slung over the back of his chair, tie loose, posture sharp. The other looked more relaxed, slouched with a slow sip of bourbon and a half-smile that hadn't faded once. Neither looked rushed. Neither had moved. We've smiled. We've lingered, I said. You even did that thing with your hips. That wasn't a thing, Maya shot back. That's just how I walk. I gave her a look. Okay, fine, she admitted. Maybe it was a little bit of a thing. I set my glass down. Still no move. Maya let out a dramatic sigh. I mean, come on, the tall one. He's been checking me out since round 2. I blinked. Wait, you want the tall one? Obviously, she said. He's got that brooding, I own real estate and know how to use my hands vibe. I was pretty sure I was going for him, I said. Maya turned, mock offended. You said you liked the other one. I said he was handsome, I corrected. But if we're picking favorites... She narrowed her eyes. So what, I'm stuck with the other one? He's not a backup plan, I said, glancing their way again. He's got that messy charm, like he'd shake up your weekend, then offer to fix it. Maya grinned. He does look like he'd apologize with breakfast. We both laughed, shaking our heads like we hadn't just spent the past hour hoping one of them would come over. Then she looked at me, half daring, half defeated. We're seriously still arguing over who gets who, when neither's made a move? They're into us, I said. They're just wasting time pretending they're not. Too slow, Maya muttered, standing taller, and I'm done waiting. I crossed my arms. So what's the plan? Flip a coin, make them earn it? She grabbed the tequila and smirked. I say we don't choose. No rules, no sides, she said, already pouring. We play it loose. I raised a brow. So we're winging it. She shrugged. Works for me. Worst case, we both end up happy. I laughed. You mean I end up happy and you steal half the credit? She shot me a look. Please, you'll be lucky if I don't steal both. That made me pause, but only for a second. I grabbed the keys, walked to the door, and turned the lock. The click echoed through the empty bar. Behind me, I heard Maya pick up the bottle and mutter, "About damn time." They were still where we'd left them, in the far corner, low lit and watching. The tall one leaned back like he owned the place. The other still wore that same half smile, like he'd known how this would end from the start. We didn't walk. We strolled, slow and sure, like we already knew the rules, even if we hadn't said them out loud. Maya led with her chin raised slightly, eyes on the one with the smile. Our shift's over, she said. Mind if we join you? The tall one, salt and pepper hair, broad shoulders, whiskey untouched, nodded with a subtle smile. We were wondering what took you so long. David, he added, offering a hand. Claire, I said, slipping mine into his. His grip was firm, confident, like everything else about him. The other man raised his glass toward Maya. Rick? She clinked it without breaking eye contact, then sank smoothly into the seat beside him, crossing her legs with a slow swing of her heel. Didn't want to interrupt your rhythm, Rick said, eyes flicking down and back. Oh, we're used to being watched, Maya replied, just not usually for this long. I slid in beside David, just close enough for my arm to brush his. So, you two were just going to sit here all night? David smiled. We had a feeling you'd come over eventually. And if we hadn't? I asked. He shrugged. Then we'd still be here. Drinks full. Room quiet. Across the table, Rick leaned slightly toward Maya. I was betting she'd make the first move, he said, nodding in my direction. Maya tilted her head. You would have lost. The conversation dipped and curled. Low voices, steady glances, every word a little closer than it needed to be. I let my hand rest casually on David's arm. He didn't move. Maya leaned closer to Rick, laughing softly, her fingers brushing his knee like they had a mind of their own. It was mutual, natural, and heating up fast. Then Maya shifted. Without missing a beat, she turned in her seat and slipped comfortably onto Rick's lap, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her fingers rested behind his neck, drawing just a little closer before she kissed him, deep, certain, and slow. I didn't move. I just sipped my drink and watched her, amused, impressed, and not even slightly surprised. David didn't look away from me. Is that normal for her? I smirked. Only when she's holding back. Maya didn't wait. Still on Rick's lap, she pulled her shirt over her head in one clean motion, letting it fall behind her like it didn't matter. Her skin caught the light, warm, flushed, and Rick looked like he'd forgotten how to breathe. She kissed him again, deeper this time, hands sliding over his chest with easy confidence. He didn't need to be guided, he just followed. Next to me, I saw her moving with that same slow rhythm I knew so well. Her shirt was already gone. Rick's hands rested lightly on her hips as she set the pace, her grin growing between kisses. I glanced at David. He was already watching me. He didn't speak. Neither did I. I turned toward him and kissed him without warning, one hand on his jaw, the other on his chest. His hands found my back and held me there, steady but unhurried. The space between us disappeared, one layer at a time. His breath met bare skin, his stubble brushing slow, teasing lines across me. I let my head fall back and my fingers twist gently into his hair. Maya laughed softly nearby, still kissing, still leading. I could hear the shift in Rick's breathing, deeper, heavier, like her rhythm was pulling him into something he hadn't expected. David was quieter, focused, every motion purposeful. His lips traced across me with the kind of care that made every second last longer. I didn't need to rush. Neither of us did. And then I felt her eyes. I looked over. Maya was watching me. Just for a second. We smiled. Together we lowered ourselves in sync, moving to the floor with unspoken purpose. Two women side by side, hands moved without a word, measured, focused, drawn by shared momentum. Rick leaned back. David shifted forward. I moved first, then her, then both. It wasn't a tease anymore. It was a quiet challenge, a shared rhythm unfolding between us, each motion deliberate, each breath drawn out just a little longer. Every calculated move, every staggered breath we coaxed from them, it all became part of the game. A low breath escaped Rick, his jaw slackening. David's fingers lingered near my neck, not pushing, just present, grounding. I glanced at Maya again. She was watching me through lowered lashes, her pace slow but focused, like she knew exactly what she was doing, and exactly how much I wanted to keep up. We mirrored each other. One tilt, one glance, one shift in pressure. Their hands gripped the edge of the table, their bodies barely held still, and just when they looked ready to break, we stopped. At the same time, we rose together, slow and steady. I met Maya's eyes across the space between us. That grin of hers said exactly what I was thinking. Let's see how they handle the switch. As she passed, Maya let her hand glide across my lower back, then leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Let's get wilder." A playful tap landed on my hip, just as she laughed under her breath and slipped past. Rick leaned back in his seat as I approached, that same half-smile he'd worn all night still tugging at the corner of his mouth. I didn't hesitate. I settled onto his lap, my knees bracing gently against the sides of his chair, his breath hitched just enough to make me smirk. Behind me, I could already hear Maya with David, her laughter low, steady, interrupted now and then by faint, breathy catches that tugged at the edge of my focus. She was enjoying herself, and she didn't bother to hide it. Rick's hand slid up along my sides, anchoring me. His lips found the side of my jaw, then drifted lower. I moved with him, pressing closer, tilting once, then again. The shift was smooth, instinctive. The moment we synced, it just clicked, fluent, seamless, like muscle memory. I leaned further into him, letting myself fall into the moment, calm and certain, picking up the rhythm we'd already begun. Then I moved, deliberate, steady, meeting the pace that had started to build between us. My hands curled at his shoulders, his fingers held at my waist. We moved together, breath matching breath, like a tide pulling us forward. His exhale grew rough, and when my head tilted back, I didn't hold anything in. Each motion folded into the next, urgency swelling, scattering my thoughts like sparks in a storm. I wasn't thinking anymore. I was chasing, yielding, surrendering. He pulled me in tighter, and I gave in, swept up in the momentum of it all. Behind me, Maya's breath hitched, unsteady and rising just enough to pull my attention for a heartbeat. Then without a word, Rick lifted me. My back landed on the table, still warm from the night. He leaned over, smiling like he'd won something. I laughed. Then I felt another body ease into place beside mine. David had guided Maya to the table's edge, his grip sure as she bent forward next to me. Her palms settled against the surface, just inches from my shoulder. Her head turned my way, flushed, glowing, strands of hair clinging to her temple, mouth parted in a dazed, content grin. We locked eyes. So near, I could feel the warmth of her breath blend into mine. So near, I could see every flicker of heat and delight dancing across her face. She looked wild, alive, beautiful. She started moving in sync with David's rhythm, a soft sound slipping from her lips. Her face was already close to mine, cheeks flushed, hair clinging to damp skin. With each motion behind her, her breath grew heavier, drawing her closer against me, heartbeat by heartbeat, and I couldn't help myself. I leaned in and kissed her. It started as a whisper, just a brush of lips, but the second I touched her, Maya responded like she'd been waiting all night. Her palm found my cheek. My fingers slipped to her waist. Neither of us hesitated. The men didn't slow. If anything, they moved with more purpose. David's motion pressed her into me with rising urgency. Rick's grip steadied me at the sides, his presence solid and unwavering. They were watching us, both of them, and they liked what they saw. Maya released a faint sound against my mouth, and I felt it echo through me. I kissed her deeper, pulling her closer, giving her something steady to hold as the pace quickened behind her. Her exhales turned sharper. Her rhythm faltered. She was unraveling against me, and I stayed with her step for step, helping her get there. Her breath caught. Her hands clung to my shoulders, and then David lost control. I felt it in the sudden stutter of his rhythm, the break in momentum. Maya exhaled long and slow, collapsing gently into me, her forehead resting against mine, her whole body softening. Behind us, Rick eased his pace. He reached for her, arms sure and careful, and guided her onto me, laying her down across my body. I was still flat against the table, and now she was stretched above me, chest to chest, breath brushing my neck. Then I felt Rick again, his hands firm at her waist, and in the next moment they found a shared rhythm. Maya's body tensed, a quiet gasp slipping free, her arms wrapped around me. I kissed her cheek when her voice caught again. Rick's pace deepened, each movement pressing her into me, both of us shifting together. I whispered to her, coaxing her higher until she pressed in tighter, struggling to stay grounded through it all. And then she let go. She melted into me, trembling from the inside out, breath catching against my collarbone, lips pressed against my neck. I held her steady and safe as the tension washed through her. Rick slowed, just enough to reposition. He adjusted, then leaned in, finding the rhythm that had already taken root between us. Maya barely moved, still draped across me, warm and spent. But her hand slid along my sides again, her lips brushing the shell of my ear. Her touch matched his pace, guiding and grounding me all at once. I moved with Rick, my breath coming faster now, my core tightening under the weight of everything building at once. Maya kissed the curve of my neck and murmured something half-heard and wicked, and just like that, the edge found me. It hit in a rush, sensation crashing through me, every limb tense, my grip locking on the table, my body arching into the heat of it. I didn't cry out, I couldn't. The release stole the sound from my mouth, left only breath and light, and Maya's hand holding me in place. Rick held through it, his pace steady, anchoring until at last his own rhythm faltered and came to a slow, final stop. Silence followed, just air, skin, heat. Maya and I stayed tangled together, our limbs wrapped in breath mingled. We laughed quietly, breathless, stunned, and smiling. She kissed my cheek. I kissed her back. And there we stayed on the table, glowing, weightless, and still wrapped around each other like we never planned to move. Before you leave, answer this. If you were sitting at that table and those two came over, would you hesitate or jump right in? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for being here.